Well, it's time now for Flashback, a recap of stories amid headlines during the week. We'll begin with Monday, where the Independent National Electoral Commission fixed Saturday, April the 15th, for the conduct of February of the supplementary elections in the affected polling units nationwide. Well, that was the outcome of a meeting of the election management body that reviewed areas where supplementary elections were required to conclude the outstanding governorship, national and state assembly elections across the country. INEC said supplementary governorship election would be held in Adamawa and Kebbi states, 5 senatorial districts, 31 federal and 58 state assembly constituencies. And also on Monday, a high court in Makurdi, Benue State capital, restrained the embattled national chairman of the People's Democratic Party, Iyorchia Ayu, from parading himself as the chairman of the party pending the determination of the substantive suit, which was adjourned till April the 17th for hearing. A member of the PDP from the state, who was the plaintiff before Justice Pochi, obtained the order restraining Mr. Ayu from parading himself as national chairman of the party. The plaintiff said following the suspension of Iyorchia Ayu by his ward executives, it was wrong for him to keep up with the office of the national chairman and further disunite the party. Mr. Ayu was suspended late last week for alleged anti-party activities in the wake of the party's loss in the February the 15th presidential election.
I'm sure you are aware of the facts of the matter as it concerns us here in Benue. We naturally expected that out of the performance that we have just recorded as a party in Benue, we naturally expected, like it's done in Senate climbs, for the former national chairman, Senator Iyorchia Ayu, to have stepped aside honorably because he wasn't able to lead the party to victory and allow the party to move on without him. Unfortunately, he has refused to display that kind of honor. So I thought it wise to approach the court to see how to agree with the position of his ward, who only 24 hours ago had suspended him from the party. Our expectation is that you cannot be the national chairman of a party that you are not a member of. Unfortunately, or should I say fortunately for us as a party, Iyorchia Ayu is no longer a member of the People's Democratic Party as declared by his ward. And under normal circumstances, he has no reason whatsoever to continue as national chairman of our party.
Well, on Tuesday, the organized labor gave the Central Bank of Nigeria 2 more weeks to make cash available to the citizens. The leadership of the Nigeria Labour Congress and the Trade Union Congress made the declaration at a joint news conference in Abuja. The two organizations acknowledged marked improvements in the disbursement of cash across money deposit banks, but say more still needs to be done. The Nigeria Labour Congress had issued a 1-week ultimatum to the Central Bank of Nigeria to make Naira notes available, or its members would picket the bank's offices nationwide. NLC also indicated its members would stay at home across the country as a way of protesting the hardship being faced over the cash crunch.
The NLC have decided, and TUC, to equally allow tomorrow to pass without any shutdown or picketing, but to watch the next 2 weeks. After 2 weeks from today, the neck of the two centers will meet again and decide whether the CBN has actually complied and whether their compliance is actually sustainable.
We are completely aligned that we have to sustain this push. We have to sustain this pressure for another 2 weeks, because when the report came across the various states, yes, there have been some level of compliance. And as he has said as well, some banks refused to comply and refused to open, and they did not open weekends. We hereby also call on CBN and also encourage them that they should sustain this action.
Well, Tuesday was another day of a raging fire at the popular Balogun market in Lagos. A 5-story building made of bricks, container metals and plywood was set ablaze.
Tears and lamentation as another heartbreaking inferno got this plaza at a market in Lagos. It's been a stubborn fire raging on for hours on end as the fire service tries to put it out.
From 32, the penthouse, even where the light started, there's no electric there. No electric there that says electric that caused the fire. Nobody can know what caused the fire. And the fire is like a wildfire. The one we watch in the movie. 32 now is affected. My shop is 34. Everything now burned down.
From third floor till down, burned down. So no, we could not pick anything out from the shop. I don't know. We've lost many things, many goods worth of billions.
It's been fueled by a huge amount of combustible materials. Plaza number 32 on Balogun Street. The materials on sale here: plastic, textile materials, shoes and bags made from petrochemical products.
Our response time is about 10 minutes. Now, let's look at this thing. Look at the structures. Look at the buildings. Look at the structure upward. You can see that this structure, there's a lot of deficit in it. They use a treated plywood to move up. It's a fact that there are a lot of petrochemical inflammable substances in there. You can see that we are battling with crowd control challenges, with calling the police. You can see all of them around. You can see the way they build the kiosk.
About 580 shops in the 2 buildings are estimated to be affected as at now, and including the Union Bank, because the fire started at the penthouse. They were trying to put it out, which they didn't succeed. It was after that, when it has gone out of hand, before they started calling responders.
Well, on Wednesday, the Department of State Services identified some key players in the plot for an interim government in Nigeria. In a statement by the Public Relations Officer, Peter Afunaya, the service considered the plot being pursued by some entrenched interests as not only an aberration but a mischievous way to set aside the Constitution and undermine civil rule and plunge the country into an avoidable crisis. The service said the machination is taking place after the peaceful conduct of the elections in most parts of the country. He said the planners in their meetings have weighed various options, which includes sponsoring endless violent mass protests in major cities to warrant a declaration of a state of emergency. And also on Wednesday, the President-elect Asiwaju Bola Tinubu described his 71st birthday as a significant one, as it came few weeks after Nigerians gave him the honor and privilege of a lifetime to be their president. Asiwaju Tinubu thanked the Almighty God for life, opportunities and doors that was opened to him along the way. He thanked those who have expressed their goodwill towards him, as they have profoundly shown care and support. Asiwaju Tinubu affirmed his readiness to deliver on his mandate while thanking all Nigerians and giving him the greatest gift, which is the opportunity to lead and fulfill destiny, and champion the aspirations of citizens and bring about Nigeria of their dreams. Now, still in the week under review, the Supreme Court on Thursday dismissed an appeal filed by a former Minister of State for Education, Chukwuemeka Nwajuba, that sought to disqualify Bola Tinubu of the APC and Atiku Abubakar of the PDP as the presidential candidates of their political parties. The Supreme Court dropped the suit on grounds that it was a statute barred. A 5-man panel led by Justice Nyang Okuru dismissed the appeal and didn't award costs against the former minister for withdrawing his case. Mr. Wajuba and the civil group challenged Tinubu's nomination on the ground that he didn't disclose the source of his 100,000 naira, which he obtained to a nomination and expression of interest form in a contravention of Section 90, subsection 3 of the Electoral Act 2022. And also on Thursday, the House of Representatives approved the Presidential Declaration Order 2022, designating 10 named parks with the status of national parks. And the Green Chamber also considered the conference report on the establishment of the Nigeria Peace Corps as a government organization.
On the 16th of November 2022, President Muhammadu Buhari signed an executive order declaring 10 parks across the country as national parks, and in line with constitutional provisions, he sent a written request to the Parliament for its approval. The motion to that effect was moved by the House leader.
The President communicated in writing requesting the concurrence of the House on the 10 new national parks.
The motion generated some arguments before it was passed.
I am worried because in this concurrence that is being sought, there has not been provision or knowledge regarding the framework for the effective management of those parks.
The idea of what they do with the reserve is the exclusive right of. We should not give to serve the power we don't have. The law says, let not cogit ad impossibilia.
The parks include Alawa Game Reserve in Niger State, Apoy Forest Reserve, and Edumenum Reserve, both in Bayelsa, as well as Fagore Games Reserve in Kano State. Hope rose for the proposed Peace Corps as the House adopted the conference report on its creation.
I move that the House do consider the report of the Conference Committee on a bill for an act to establish Nigerian Peace Corps to facilitate peace, volunteering, community services, neighboring watch, and nation building and related matters.
The report of the House Committee on FRSC on the proposed establishment of training institutions for the agency was also considered.
I rise to move that the House do consider the report of the Committee on Federal Road Safety Commission on the bill for an act training institution as capacity building institution for the training in road traffic administration and safety management.
Well, the sum in contention in the earlier report was 100 million naira and not 100,000 naira, as earlier stated. Well, let's move on. Still on Thursday, the House of Representatives approved the Presidential Declaration. Apologies for that. Well, let's quickly move on to Friday, where the Nigeria Governors Forum condemned the alleged plot to install an interim government ahead of a May 29th transition to a new government. And this was contained in a communique issued at the end of the forum's fourth meeting and signed by its chairman and governor of Sokoto State, Aminu Tambuwal. The governors pledged to defend the country's democracy as elected leaders and will not support any illegal regime change. And finally, on Friday, Nigeria's Minister of Defense, Major General Bashir Magashi, said the armed forces is committed and will continue to do its best to address the insecurity in the Northwest. He spoke in Kaduna at the Nigeria Defense Academy, where he's commissioned a monument built to honor military officers who died during operations in the Northeast.
Water crossing demonstration by Nigeria Defense Academy cadets of 70 regular corps. Either on land, air or water, the NDA is building cadets' capacity for swift and rapid response to attacks by enemies of peace.
First is the integrated obstacle course, and now you have witnessed the assault river crossing demonstration exercise carried out by cadets of 70th regular course.
Insecurity in Nigeria's northwest still lingers, unlike the northeast where significant progress has been made. The Minister of Defense, who is assessing the cadets' training, says the armed forces will continue to do its best to address the situation.
Our coming here is to see how best we can improve the training and other aspects of soldiering. You can see what is going on, and I think even the Northwest, there is a lot of improvement. The only thing is that some of these things you cannot say you completely get rid of them.
A monument has been built to honor officers who paid the supreme price during the Army's Operation Deep Punch in the Northeast. This is commissioned by the Defense Minister, who is in the company of service chiefs. The minister is the first NDA commandant who has gone ahead to lead the Defense Ministry. A gate is named after him, which he also commissions.
Management of the academy, the commandant, found it fit to honor me with that important gate. I am now having a gate for myself. I'm very proud.
Thank you, sir. Further rigorous military training will be given to the cadets before they will be commissioned into the armed forces as junior officers.